Tonight, a call for communities to cash in on energy opportunities. But there are concerns about the future of hydropower in Scotland. We'll find out how an Aberdeenshire town got a windfall from wind. Also tonight, Glasgow scientists warn up to half people with kidney disease don't know they have it. And we'll have all the sport with Sheila. What's going on tonight?
Well, Fiona, we'll be behind the scenes at the Scotland camp in Florida as they reveal some squad secrets ahead of the World Cup.
And we'll hear about the campaign to give World Heritage protection to the Morning Roll. Hello, I'm Fiona Stalker. Welcome to the News at 7. Well, that's what's coming up on tonight's News at 7. But first, let's take a look at some of the day's other stories. People evacuated from their homes in a former mining village after reports of ground movement can't go home for at least another 8 weeks while an investigation is carried out. First Minister John Swinney has said that more than £660,000 raised by the SNP for an IndyRef campaign is being used to further the party's constitutional cause. Questions about the fund led to a police investigation into SNP finances and the conviction of former Chief Executive Peter Murrell for embezzlement. A man's admitted murdering a musician who allowed him to stay at his flat in Inverness. Vladimir Bzoronsky struck Ian McFarlane with a glass bottle before choking him with a strap and a vacuum cord. And the Prime Minister's independent ethics advisor has been asked to urgently investigate whether the Scottish Secretary Douglas Alexander broke the ministerial code by not publicly declaring a meeting with a lobbyist at Peter Mandelson's company. And for more information on all these stories, you can scan the QR code on the screen now. It's coming up. It'll take you to the BBC Scotland News website. Now, a gold rush. That's how one industry figure has described the potential for community energy projects in Scotland. Fraser Stewart is the head of local energy at GB Energy, a publicly owned company set up by the UK government to promote clean power. He says it's becoming easier for communities to benefit from owning their own wind turbines or solar panels and then use the profits to benefit their area. He sat down with our colleagues from Scotcast to tell them about it.
As we're shifting over to renewables, the whole idea is that, one, we know we need to get to clean energy, right? Ostensibly a good thing, good industry for the future. But we're still stuck in that kind of international oil and gas fossil fuel market, which means that we don't feel the benefits of the massive resource that we know we already have. The second point to this is we actually own, as a country or as people or as communities, very little of it at this stage. Communities can own this stuff as well. Councils can own this stuff as well, where rather than it being in, international shareholder hands, it comes into the hands of people directly where it matters to them most, and they get to decide what happens with the profits. So the idea here is that rather than just relying on big energy companies to come in and build the wind farms and build the solar farms, which we need the big stuff, but communities can do that themselves, albeit on a smaller scale. They can build their own wind farms, build your own solar panels. We'll take the example of Huntly, for example, who stuck up a couple of their own wind turbines a few years back. They've just regenerated an old bank building in the high street, 3 stories. They've now got a cinema funded by their community benefits from the wind that they own. They've got a hot desk and co-working space in there. They've got a cafe. They've got a banking hub in a very rural area where the banks have shut down. That's one way that communities reinvest in this stuff. I would say to anyone listening who thinks, that sounds like quite a good idea, now's the time. There's a gold rush on this stuff. And the good news is that where there's been difficulties in funding it in the past, where communities have really, really relied on individuals, champions, hard-headed people to drive stuff through in spite of a challenging funding landscape, in spite of having to beg and borrow money from anywhere that they could in the past, actually now, there's real political momentum behind it and there's real will behind it.
Well, it was Fraser Stewart from GB Energy talking to Martin Geisler. So let's hear more about that Huntly wind power scheme Fraser mentioned. Donald Boyd is one of the people behind the Local Development Trust. He spoke to me earlier about how the project helped restore his community.
There have been lots and lots of consultations in previous years around about what our community, our area wants to see happen. And at the same time as those consultations were going on, we could actually see change, negative change happening around about us. banks closing, the visitor information centre closing, shops closing. There was a real sense of the last one out, turn out the lights. So we thought it was really, really important to have, a bit of muscle to put into the regeneration of our town, and the community wind turbine is part of that solution.
I mean, you're actually managing to reverse some of the trends that other towns and villages are seeing. How significant has this project been, do you think, for the local community?
I think the whole thing is significant if you take it in the round. We started off back in 2009 with nothing, and we're now at a stage where we're employing 26 local people. Admittedly, not all full time, but that's 26 people who've earn a bit of income through the trust and its operations. And what we'd like to see is that this is just the beginning, really. We've got other plans. There are definitely other challenges out there. But I think what hopefully it shows is that if you really put your mind to it as a community, as an organisation, you can work with lots of partners who are there to help, and you can actually make change happen. It doesn't happen fast, but you can do it.
Sorry to interrupt, Donald. I was going to say, but the town kind of has a history of this, hasn't it? Sort of getting together, and it happened in the 60s for a project, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Way back then, that's the town got together and said, right, we're going to build a local swimming pool, and they raised the funds for it. So I think I think it's in the blood, if you like. And maybe rural communities across Scotland are the same. They've got a history of just getting on and making things happen. I think that has to be the message at a time when public funds are under increasing pressure. We're probably all going to have to spend more on defence. If we want to see things happen, we've really got to try and find other income streams to do that. And who better to do it than local people who know what's needed.
Well, clearly the Community Energy Scheme in Huntly has had a positive impact, but it can be a long, difficult process before power is generated. I asked our environment correspondent Kevin Keane about that.
In fact, I would say there are a couple of issues related to community energy. One is the amount of time and effort and energy that it takes to actually get some of these projects up and running. I'm here in Aberdeen at this brilliant Archimedes screw. This was years in the planning and the making. A few months ago I was in Wallistown in Ayr to see where solar panels had been put on the roofs of school buildings. The other issue that was highlighted there in particular in Ayr is that some of these projects, a lot of these projects, get a very small amount of money for the electricity they generate. They basically get the same amount that you or I would get if you've got a few solar panels on our roof, and that's nothing like what's charged by big electricity generators.
And you've been hearing about issues with hydropower in Scotland as well.
Yeah, hydropower like this, but also small-scale hydro. So there's a project in the Northwest Highlands near Gairloch, which has been in the planning stages for several years now. But they're echoing the views of several developers of potential small-scale hydro schemes, which is that they can't find any way to get that electricity to market, to the wholesaler, to us, ultimately as the consumer, because they're having to bid in a closed auction process against much cheaper wind and solar energy, and they're saying they just can't compete with it. And for that reason, they've had to pull the plug, effectively pause for now that project, which would have generated enough electricity to power about 4,500 homes. And they told me how disappointed they are in that.
Well, very frustrating. We've invested not only time and money, but we've got local people involved from construction, we've got landowner buy-in, and we're all ready to go, but without the price certainty it's just not viable as it stands.
Well, the next time that bidding process happens is next month. It's an annual process and it's been brought forward this year, and we spoke to the UK government and they've said that they'll make a decision on whether or not something like small-scale hydro will have a separate pot in that process or as part of that process in the weeks leading up to it. It's not unprecedented. Things like wave and tidal power have ring-fenced funds of money to pay for it, and that's what these small-scale hydro developers want. So I think the comment today from the UK government at least gives them some hope that that's a possibility.
Well, can you watch the full Scottcast interview with Fraser Stewart from GB Energy on BBC iPlayer? Or you can listen to it along with all of Scottcast episodes on BBC Sounds or wherever you get your podcasts. Well, voters in Aberdeen South will head to the polls on the 18th of June. It's one of 3 by-elections that day. There's one in nearby Arbroath and Broughty Ferry and another in Makerfield in Greater Manchester. At the heart of the contest in Aberdeen South is the future of the North Sea, our energy security and what that could mean for our bills. Our political correspondent David Wallace-Lockhart has the story.
We should be looking at renewables, but it has to be managed. And if you look at other countries, they're horsing on and developing oil, gas and whatever else they can. We're trying to be as green as we can, but it's penalising the country.
That was one former North Sea deep sea diver who didn't want to go on camera but was happy to tell us what oil and gas means to Aberdeen South. This harbour is a pivotal location when it comes to that industry and, of course, renewables.
By-elections can be about local issues, they can be about national issues. In Aberdeen South, it feels like both, because we're talking about the future of the North Sea, energy security, and what that means for everyone's finances.
Jeff Aberdeen was once Alex Salmond's top advisor, but he's disillusioned with the SNP's approach to oil and gas in recent years, particularly the assumption against new drilling.
So much of our politics just now is short-termism. It's going with the latest fad. It's trying to be on the popular side of debates. It's not going into the evidence. And I cannot believe for a moment that Nicola Sturgeon, when she made that presumption against oil and gas pledge, she knew that it would cost thousands of Scottish jobs. She knew that it would mean over-reliance on imports from other countries. I just can't believe any leader of a national party of Scotland would take that decision. So I think it was completely misguided. And I really hope that the SNP today rectifies that properly with a firm statement of support for domestic oil and gas so we can support the transition to renewables again that we all want to see.
Jeff Aberdeen isn't the only one who thinks his former political home has lost its way. Until recently, Maurice Golden was a Conservative MSP, and he doesn't like his party's Get Britain Drilling slogan that they're using in this by-election.
I think the use of language bordering on jingoism and Trump-esque language is deeply concerning, and actually I would like to see more grown-up politics from all our political parties, including the Conservatives. It's not a referendum on oil and gas. It's about improving people's lives, and I think all the candidates in the election should focus on that rather than create one divisive issue to define the by-election.
Many argue that a balance has to be struck between fossil fuels and renewables. But some activists say a swift pivot away from oil and gas is the only way to tackle climate change.
A lot of people say, yep, let's move to renewables, but it's not ready yet. We need oil and gas, so why not just drill for it in our own back garden?
Well, offshore wind is already really big in Scotland, and we're actually producing lots of renewable energy through that. And yeah, like oil and gas in the North Sea is still going to be sold internationally. That's not going to create energy security.
So you don't think it will bring down prices here by drilling more?
Absolutely not. No. Only renewables can do that.
This by-election is about a number of issues, but it does feel like a debate about Scotland and the UK's energy security is playing out on the streets of Aberdeen. And the voters here, when they go to the polls, may well look to send a message about the future of the North Sea. David Wallace-Lockhart, reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
And the full list of candidates in the Aberdeen South by-election is on your screen now. Well, still to come, we have weather with Christopher and the campaign to get protected status for a Scottish delicacy. But first, let's see what Sheila has to dish up sports-wise.
Thanks, Fiona. Yes, Scotland are feeling the heat in Florida as their World Cup preparations continue ahead of Saturday's friendly against Bolivia. Their acclimatisation in Fort Lauderdale is maybe easier for some of Steve Clarke's players. Defender Jack Hendry plays his club football for Al Ettifaq in the Saudi Pro League. He told Amy Canavan that the process of getting used to the conditions is vital as Scotland aim to progress past the group stage for the very first time.
It's good for me. It's very much like the Saudi weather, especially in the summer. It can be extremely humid, very high temperatures, and even finishing off my season there, it was warm temperatures. So it's quite a bit of home for me. So it's now enjoyable for me. It wasn't maybe at the start, but I've got very much used to it, and obviously I think the boys will get used to it very quickly.
How much impact does it have? Because I think we can all talk about it, we all know what it's like when you come out here, and we can all feel it, but when you are on the pitch, how much of an impact does it have, perhaps mentally but physically as well?
Yeah, for sure it does, but I think it's very good that we come out here and experience it. I think it maybe would have been a shock if we had came out to the Miami game, because obviously it hits you as soon as you come off the plane.
So you asked for everyone to enjoy it, from players to fans to himself even a little bit. What is a success for Scotland at this World Cup?
The main ambition for the country is going to be trying to get out of the group. We've never achieved that before, so we can't look too far ahead, take it game by game, and if we do that and we enjoy it and we play the best we can be, then we should be able to achieve that quite easily.
Well, we can now go behind the scenes at Scotland's World Cup camp and find out some things about the players you don't know, and maybe some things you didn't want to know.
Who's the biggest poser today?
John McGinn.
Likes getting in front of the camera,
Doesn't look the best though.
George Hurst. There's a lot of product in Ralston's hair, so he's enjoying himself behind the camera.
McTominay. I just saw him there, so
pretends not to like it but really likes it.
Loves it.
Mick Sauce, isn't it? Big McTominay. That is like, I mean, he's handsome and he's an amazing player, but he's a big poser.
One thing about one teammate that fans don't know but should know.
Oh, come on, I need to think of something here. You got any secrets?
Liam Kelly shaves Grant Hanley's back.
Daily?
It needs to.
Andy, I don't know if he still does it. This is a bit random, but for his pre-match, he always used to make this weird chicken sandwich thing. I don't know if he's still on that or not. I need to find out.
I've absolutely no idea. You've lost me. Get examples of what people are saying.
That Liam Kelly shaves Grant Hanley's back.
Lyndon Dykes follows Ryan Christie about like a dog.
Sit next to each other on the flight as well, don't they?
Aye, but I don't think that's Christie's choice.
Back shaving and chicken sandwiches. Yeah, interesting. OK, well, it's just 50 days to go now until the Commonwealth Games gets underway in Glasgow, and it will be a big moment for Beth Riva, who will be part of the bowls team with her uncle, the legendary Tatty Marshall. The 23-year-old watched him win the men's pairs with Paul Foster the last time the Games were held here in 2014. She says making her Commonwealth Games debut alongside him is the stuff of dreams.
At the Glasgow Games in 2014, I said, this is absolutely what I want to do. This is where I want to be one day. Did I think that would happen now? Probably not. But yeah, I'm absolutely delighted. It's a dream come true, and to be able to compete alongside my uncle as well is, yeah, the stuff of dreams. Within our sport, he's a legend, but within Scottish sport, he's a legend. His record at Commonwealth Games over the last few years have been extraordinary. He's been at the top for forever, and yeah, that's a huge inspiration to me. Learning from him and getting kind of to grips with his knowledge and the way he plays the game is definitely what's helped me get to the point where I am today. It's some big footsteps to follow in. He's had an amazing career. If I can have half the career he's had, I will be delighted.
Well, lots more on the Commonwealth Games, and you can get yourself in the mood for the World Cup with all the build-up on the BBC Sport Scotland website.
Thanks. I've just got the phrase back shaving now in my head.
Think of the chicken sandwich.
A chicken sandwich, I'll go for that. Thank you so much. Now, up to half of people living with kidney disease don't know they have it. That's the warning from a team of Scottish scientists. They've led an international study. It revealed at a major conference in Glasgow today. They say underdiagnosis is endangering millions of lives, and they want more routine testing. Dr. Jennifer Lees led the team behind the study. I asked her what they found.
So the most important points are that we recognise that kidney disease is extremely prevalent, so rising in incidence, rising in prevalence, affecting a huge number of people worldwide. If you're to take a room of 100 people, about 10 of those people will have chronic kidney disease, and 9 of them will not be aware that they have this diagnosis.
That's quite a stark statistic, isn't it? That'll surprise a lot of people.
It will surprise a lot of people, and particularly it's horrifying to think about that when there are such simple tests that we can do to try and detect chronic kidney disease in various settings. So that is in the settings that we all consider to be, or we as the medical team consider to be the right settings, so people with diabetes, people with high blood pressure, but it also extends into other settings where we know that the risk is really high, underprivileged groups, women more so than men, but also in people treated for cancer, for example, people who've had infections, and that includes COVID and flu. Pregnancy is a very high risk situation for developing future kidney problems. So really what we want to do with these papers is highlight how big the problem is, how easy it is to detect, and most importantly, highlight how many options there are now for treatment that there weren't before.
Why is it so prevalent? Why is it on the rise?
So I think there are a number of factors. So it is a condition that becomes more common with age. We have an ageing population, so that's not a surprise. We are seeing more of these, what we call metabolic conditions. So things like diabetes and obesity are on the rise, in part because of the way we now live our lives. But also there are other factors that contribute. So we know that there are shared pathways or shared reasons that people develop this condition across a number of other problems. So cancer and kidney disease and diabetes, for example, are much more similar than you think in terms of their risk factors and causes.
How do we tackle this finally?
So I think the most important thing is to improve detection. So we know we've got good evidence that if you detect CKD and you diagnose it and it's written in the medical records, that the treatment is better. People pay attention to it more, the follow-up is better, the administration of drugs are better. So first of all, it's improving awareness and improving diagnosis. And secondary, it's working on getting the treatment, the correct treatment into the correct people at the right time. And most importantly, doing that early. The earlier we can do it, the more time we can buy that person to live a longer, healthier life before reaching other problems like heart disease and kidney failure.
Now, the Great Wall of China, Stonehenge, the Great Barrier Reef, all recognised by UNESCO as culturally important heritage. Now, there could be a new addition to the list, the Morning Roll. There's a new campaign to give it UNESCO Living Heritage protection. We'll meet the man behind that in a moment, but first I went to Coles Takeaway in Glasgow to see how customers there like the rolls. Could these be the next thing on the UNESCO World Heritage Site? They have been flying off the shelves this morning. Who best to ask than Cara, who's been serving them all morning? Why are morning rolls so popular?
I don't know why they're so popular. They've been here for many, many years. People just love them on the roll.
What kind of fillings do they have?
Like your square and scone, that's your most common roll. Ham salad rolls, chicken tikka, anything can go in a roll.
What weird things do they ask for?
So like a roll and fried egg with mustard.
Oh. So I'm a vegetarian. What would be the best filling for me, would you recommend, Cara?
Salad.
What does it for you?
What does it for me? I like a potato scone and egg.
Thanks, pal. Soft rolls as always. They're really important to Scottish diet. For your rolling sausage in the morning, you cannot beat it at all. My morning roll is a rolling square sausage with potato scone with red sauce.
What would you have in your morning roll?
A sausage.
A sausage. And why is it so tasty?
Because it's got sausage in it.
It's the best. I think it's because they're crispy. They taste the best. I don't know, I just love them. I don't have any other rolls other than morning rolls because I love the crispy roll.
What would you have with them?
Mostly it's chips and curry sauce.
And what about this one?
Oh, he likes
a morning roll?
He'll eat most about anything, but a wee morning roll and sausage he loves.
So tried to get him to say sausages. Those of a certain vintage will get that. Now, let's meet the man behind the campaign, food historian Peter Gilchrist. He told me how it all came about.
Firstly, it's an entirely accidental campaign, because I just wanted to put together a wee talk on the history of the morning roll, and then that talk sold out, so I put on another one. And then a journalist heard that a morning roll talk sold out and wrote a lovely piece about it, and now I'm standing in Pacific Quay at the BBC talking about my campaign. But yes, I want to try and get recognition from the UK Living Heritage Inventory to recognise that morning rolls are an important cultural part of Scottish life.
Yes, why do they deserve that protection?
I think that we would not ask a French person, should baguettes be enshrined some way? We in Scotland have a slight issue in recognising at times our excellence. And I think that morning rolls are a great first step to us, perhaps being a little less pessimistic about our culture.
What are some of the more bizarre fillings that you could have in your morning roll or your bap or your ribby?
I mean, again, I'm 1 week into this and I've been blown away by mayonnaise, chopped tomato, shredded cheese, mustard, hard-boiled eggs.
Where do you stand on things like, because some of the people I spoke to in the takeaway this morning, curry and chips in a roll, a pie in a roll. Where do you stand on that?
A pie, a Glasgow oyster. I mean, I would say that I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum.
We're not judging.
Whatever you put in the privacy of your morning roll is up to you. I'm not going to pass judgment on that. However, I do think that as we move around Scotland again, we begin to see these little pockets where food that I might consider odd or strange is perfectly normal, and it speaks to our identity as Scottish people. We are not one people. We are a smorgasbord of food experiences and events which have impacted communities, and trade and commerce which has developed the way that people work, and that has all had an impact on the way that bakeries created morning rolls and what they served inside of it. It's really the beginning of a story that starts 500 years ago.
Let's celebrate our rolls, our baps and our ribbies. Peter, delightful to speak to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. No yucking on our yum. That's what we say now. Well, Christopher is here with the weather. Christopher, would you be a bap or a roll man, would you say?
Anything, as long as it's got a bit of sausage in it.
Bit of sausage in it. Yeah, much better than salad. Sausage in a roll. On that note, let's get some weather.
Let's take a look at some Weather Watcher photos, shall we? A lot of cloud around today, some really heavy downpours as well. Some lovely pictures nonetheless. Best of the sunshine was in Shetland. Let me show you the radar from earlier, because that will illustrate exactly how much rain we've seen. You can see a weather front moving northwards today, and then a rash of thundery downpours arriving from the southwest as well. Those still with us at the moment, but tending to ease off overnight. Over the next few days, low pressure is sticking with us. However, brief ridge of high pressure on Friday, something a little bit drier with still a few showers, but they should be lighter. Now, this is the picture first thing tomorrow. You can see for many it's a cloudy start with a number of showers around, 1 or 2 on the heavy side, and temperatures at 8 in the morning around 11 or 12 Celsius, so not a cold start at all. Bit of early brightness towards the northwest coast, perhaps in towards the Northern Isles as well, but it will be in short supply tomorrow. What won't be in short supply is the showers. They will be fairly frequent, numerous and heavy. And you can see the circulation of the low pressure there. Into the afternoon, those showers across eastern areas will be thundery. Edinburgh, Perth, Dundee and Aberdeen. Temperatures again, 14 to 16 Celsius. Further into the week, this is Friday. There's that brief ridge of high pressure I mentioned, so it's a quieter day. Still a number of showers around, but they will be lighter, and there'll be a bit of brightness in between, actually. The best chance of that really across eastern Scotland. It's a very different day between Thursday and Friday across the east. In the west, cloudy with a few showers. They won't be as heavy nor indeed as thundery as we've seen today and we'll see tomorrow. And then on the extended outlook, we're still concerning ourselves with low pressure, but actually a bit of a question mark exactly what's going to happen at the weekend. We think probably that low pressure will come nearby, but we'll still get a lot of dry weather around. So this is the picture on Saturday. Still a few showers, still a lot of cloud, but there should be a bit of brightness coming through, and that could lift temperatures on the Moray coast into the high teens. And on Sunday, a pretty decent start to the day, some sunshine, breezy from the southwest, but showers or longer spells of rain set to arrive later in the day. You can see on the outlook it remains unsettled with temperatures around about average at best for the time of year. That's the forecast.
Thank you, Christopher. That is it from us tonight. Thanks for your company, and to the team in the gallery in the studio. From Christopher and I, have a good one. Bye-bye.